Hello everybody. Today with me I have Mr. Ashwin, who's a fitness and lifestyle coach in Goa. Hey man, how are you?
All good. How are you doing, man? I
Your
didn't
video
ask you
was.
where are you based in. I didn't ask you that. Where are you from?
I'm from Amravati, bro.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
How's the situation there as of now?
The cases are increasing every day, dude.
All thanks to our government.
All thanks to our government. uh, now that this is our first podcast ever, so I'm gonna give people a little bit of explanation that what this podcast series is gonna be about.
Right.
It's about letting people know that there are millions of ways to earn money, and now that we are going to go through recession in the upcoming time, I want to let people know about different ways of earning money and what's the scalable amount that they can make by taking up this profession. Okay, let's get back to the podcast. Okay, so tell our viewers a bit about yourself. Like, what do you do?
So actually, 2 years back, I wasn't into fitness at all. I got into this probably in March 2017. So what happened was, actually it's March 2018. March 2017, I just passed out of my bachelor's in geology, and post that I went to Xavier's in Bombay. I got in there with great difficulty, and I went for my master's there. So the moment I joined there, my HOD tells me, Ashwin, you should reconsider your options because geology at that point of time had already lost its scope, at least in Goa, because the mining has stopped, and mining is like a main income source, and that's where geologists are needed. So I said, fuck it, let's go to Bombay, and I studied for a matter of 4 5 months. And post that, I decided like, okay, it's not happening here. Let's probably go back and try something else because I knew
Yeah.
like fitness was already my second option. It was like my backup. I knew it before going to Xavier's also. But I thought like I'll take it as a like a what do you call it, like kind of a freelance thing, like a part time passive income source. But once I came back to Goa, I got certified. First thing first, got certified because that's very important, and that was a basic Indian level certification. So I started working in a gym called Fitness Bar in which is in Fan Gym. It's like Goa's best gym. So I worked there for a matter of 2 years, and I resigned in December. And after that, I was already working towards my international certification, which actually got. The day I got certified, it was in Bombay. The day I got certified, there were the first two cases of COVID in Bombay actually, which were
Oh,
reported. I was coming back and I already was certified. So like, okay, it's fine. Nothing wrong here. Only the certificate is not in the hand, but that doesn't matter as of now. So yeah, currently I'm a nationally certified trainer that who conducts like one-on-one sessions, online group sessions, online PT, and also I mean like physical group sessions. But I don't do that much currently because the situation.
okay. Okay. So, was there this one particular life-changing moment for you, like where you decided you're gonna take fitness as your career for your lifetime, for most significant part of your life?
So actually, when I got into fitness, I didn't think of it as a permanent job. I thought like probably I'll do it until I go for my masters in management abroad, because that was my second choice of study. So I was supposed to go to London and get my master's in management. But what happened was, and in the course of time working at Fitness Bar, I realized that there's no better happiness than making somebody else happy and changing their life in a positive way. Because I feel if a person looks good, they won't feel good. There's no guarantee about it because sometimes the mind overpowers everything else. But at least there's a 60 to 70% chance if a person has a good physique, looks good, they have much more self confidence. It inculcates a self confidence in you automatically, right? So that's when I thought like probably I can do something in this line because when you're in this line, it's much more than this muscle. You got to know how to connect with a human being, and that's not something you can learn. That's something you like develop over a period of time. Not
Yeah,
everyone is a person. Like how I'm talking to you right now. There are some people who cannot talk. They will just be like they'll be to the point. They won't really get what you're trying to tell them, and they'll finish it off there. But in this line, you got to learn how to connect with somebody. That's very important. So that's when I thought like, okay, let's go with this field and see where it takes me.
okay. What did the people around you say when you told them that you're gonna take this as your career?
So ideally, as I told you first, my friends also didn't know. I mean, like I myself didn't know that I would take it up as a permanent choice. So my friends knew, like, probably it's just a part-time thing. So the moment I told them, they had already actually known by then because seeing my efforts on social media, marketing, I used to do a lot of marketing for my gym. So they already knew the kind of efforts I was putting in for this. So without me even telling them, they knew I was already serious about taking this forward and, like taking it to the next level. So when I told them I'm going to do something about it, they were actually quite accepting about it because they know if I do something, it's going to like be something seriously taken. It won't be like this for the sake of
Okay.
making some money. I'll like work.
Okay. Do you have nice friends? Because most of the time when people tell that they're going to take something unconventional job, some unconventional
Right,
job,
right,
people
right,
usually try to drag them down. Yeah.
right, right.
Yeah. So, okay then. Everyone knows that the hardest part of being a fitness coach is not the exercise part, but the maintaining diet part. You have to do that yourself, and you have to make sure that all your clients do that. So,
Right.
how do you take care of that?
So personally about myself, when it comes to maintaining a diet, it's not really a very difficult thing for me to do because I was never a person who was into like eating a lot of junk, eating chips. Like those were my days in school. Post school, I started like the moment I started working out. I was a very thin kid before. I didn't tell you that. So the moment I started working out and I saw positive changes, that's the time I already left my junk food. So for me, maintaining a diet today is not difficult. So throughout the week, that Monday to Saturday, I'll keep a strict diet. Like not really strict, kind of flexible diet. And Sunday I'll enjoy. I'll eat whatever I want to eat, but I won't overdo it. Like I'll eat whatever are my favorites, like probably like some kind of Chinese or some dessert. Yeah. And with my clients, it's about helping them make small changes in the diet. Because most of the people I train are very very busy people. And what happens is when you don't get a time, it becomes very important, very difficult to maintain a diet. You will eat whatever comes your way. So what I do in that case is it's about trying to make small changes, like probably reducing the quantity of one item and carrying a small tiffin of something healthy to work. So that's how you
Okay.
start making small changes, adds up to a big thing in the long run. So about diet, I probably think it's a matter of making small, sustainable changes and keeping it going, continuously making positive changes.
Okay. Do you have any cheat code for people who try to diet and then jump back to junk food?
Cheat code.
Yeah, something like that.
Not not really actually. I mean like it's like you so I mean like you I there is really important caption. I'm not getting it. I'm not getting the caption, but it's simple like this. It's whatever you put inside your body, that's what your body shows you on the exterior. So if
Yeah.
your food is more, I mean, your food is a source of happiness, then go with it. Because for some people, they're just training so that they can eat junk. They don't care about looking good. They just want to maintain while at the same time eat the junk. So it's all about what makes you happy. For some people, it's the body. For some people, it's the food. So you can't force anyone to like, I mean, like do something which is not making them happy. Getting my
Yeah.
point.
Yeah. Okay, that's nice. Okay, now let's come to the money making part of this podcast. So, in general, how much money does a fitness coach or a lifestyle coach make on an average?
So actually, in India, compared to other countries, the earning is really less. That's because in general, India's pay scale is lower compared to other countries. Like in a normal, probably if I'm a trainer in London, for example, I'll earn easily around 70 to 80,000 a month. That's like average, basic stuff. When it comes to
Oh,
India, if you're working with the gym, if you're working with the gym, that is your flow trainer, you will roughly have an average earning of 20 to 25K a month. That is quite decent because I have friends who are engineers passing out and they are
oh.
earning 10,000 a month. So it's
Yeah.
not that a certain career choice will what do you call it fix the salary that you're earning. There's nothing like that. But the better part is when you start freelancing, you're out of the gym and you're on your own. So basically, the marketing, the sales is all your responsibility. Then you can even go up to like 70, 80, even probably a lakh. Then there's no stopping that. It all depends on how much
Yes.
efforts you put in and the kind of clients you get. Because I feel today, even a lakh, I mean, a lakh a month is quite achievable because people have that spending power today that they didn't have earlier, and people do spend today because what happens is health is a very important factor. Like, what's the point of having all the money when you don't have health? So people do put in a lot of money for health, but it's provided that you give them a customer service that they're paying for. If a person is going to pay you 12,000 a month for 12 sessions and you don't deliver, you won't be able to retain that client. It's a matter of customer service.
Okay. So can you tell people who are gonna take this as their career, like what are the different ways a personal trainer can make money?
So first of all, there are different venues, there are different places a person can work in. You can work in a hotel,
Hmm.
that's basically in a spa. You can work with a gym. You can work with a youth development center. You can even work in a school as a PE teacher. There are various avenues of employment. About the ways you can earn, you can do personal training, you can do group classes. I mean, fitness entrepreneurs, what they do is they launch their own products, kind of like, their own clothing line or their own supplements. So that's another way. But for that, you gotta have a financial backing. Like many of these people have probably a sponsor or a person who's funding them and, like giving them the support. So there are ample of ways. You can even, I mean, like probably become a brand ambassador for a certain brand. Say you're putting up really good content. A brand like Nike or somebody like Under Armour can also pick you up, and being an ambassador, you can earn really well. So there are no limitations. I mean, the sky is the limit here. It's all about how much hard work you put in. That's how you grow.
Okay. So would you like to tell us about the different difficulties personal trainers face this is?
So, with respect to the difficulties faced by a personal trainer, the most important is selling themselves. Like many of them have are the product. Means when you're a fitness trainer, your body is a product. So most of the trainers are in good shape, but when it comes to selling themselves, selling the product, they can't do that. That's because many people have the fear of asking for a sale and being rejected. It's all a fear of rejection basically. So first is about not taking a sale. Secondly is about sometimes having clients bargain with you for the rates. So what you got to understand is in the line of customer service, you cannot drop your rate because the customer service you're giving to a client remains the same. Like at least if you're going to a restaurant and I mean like you're bargaining the rate, you can't, right? It's a fixed rate.
Yeah.
So the same way the restaurant providing you the customer service, we give you the same customer service. And the third thing is basically time management. Many of us, I mean, like, cause a personal session is an hour, max 1 hour 15 minutes. Many clients at times delay in their time, so that kills the entire schedule. So normally a person ends up spending a lot of time either in the gym or in whichever work environment. It's like your schedule is not fixed when you're a personal trainer. It can change anyhow. But one way it is a good thing is that you can decide your work timings. You can decide whether you want to work in the evening and keep all the sessions for the evening, provided you're getting clients in the evening. So that's a positive way of thinking about it. So
Oh,
it's all about how you look at the thing. It's about your mindset.
okay. Do you think a lot of people miss out on the chance of making money or making more money because they don't ask for it?
Yes, definitely they don't. Because as I told you, it's a matter of fear of rejection. And secondly, I feel many people at times are not confident in the value they deliver. Like at times, if I'm delivering a service to you, I might not really know how good it is until you give me feedback. So in that way, I help understand my quality of work. So yes, it is actually a quite difficult thing to do. Like many people fail at making money because they don't ask for it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's it for the questions. Do you have any last advice for the people who are watching?
Well, actually, yeah. It's what I want to say is like in the current situation that we're living in, the current pandemic that we're living in, like do not leave any option coming your way. It might be even the smallest of jobs. I mean, like it might be something that you don't think of doing in the long run, but just take it up because we don't really know how long this COVID pandemic can last and how bad it can get. So always have something that you can lean back on. It might be even a smaller job paying you 1,000, 2,000 rupees a day. I mean a month. Because end of the day, even 2,000 rupees is money. You can get something out of it. So don't neglect the job or leave it just because you're not making money from it. From there you can always grow. Like everyone started somewhere, right?
Yeah.
As you said about people not making money because they don't ask for it. Many people don't make money because they don't take up a job which pays them less. They want to start a job which is paying them more. It doesn't happen that way.
Yeah, exactly. I have friends who said like they won't take an internship because it's just paying them 2,000 rupees. I'm like, dude, it's paying you something, take it as experience. But they're like, no, dude, it's 2,000 way too less.
Internship is more about learning. The money is a separate part of it only. There's a reason it's called internship, right?
Exactly. Okay, then that's it. Thanks for being on the show, man.
Most welcome, most welcome. Ranu.
Okay, so I'm going to link all the handles for that lifestyle coach in the description below. If you guys want to check it out, check him out on Instagram. Go follow him on Instagram at that lifestyle coach. Okay, thanks for being on the show, man. Thanks.
Most welcome, Ranu. It was a pleasure.
What's poppin'? Brand new whip, just hopped in.